Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and as we begin this week's special session with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, I have the pleasure of welcoming him. Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, sir, Namaskar, welcome.
Namaskar, namaskar.
And you have sustained your philanthropic activities as well as your love for Bharat. And the phase that we are in, COVID-19 is receding, yet we saw someone very important succumbing to the complications which arose due to COVID-19. And I'm talking about Colin Powell, the first African American Secretary of State. Talk to me about your recollection of the role that he played in American politics. And when people hear about someone like Colin Powell and the effect of COVID-19, they feel a little bit more scared. So on both these themes.
Well, I think General Colin Powell was really a American hero. I think he got the Medal of Honors twice because when he was Chief of Army, his career, the military career in the Army was very, very exceptionally great and very successful. And then also he performed also very well during the Iraq War. And also when he was national advisor to the Bush administration, he was also very well respected, well versed, and very popular diplomat, as well as chief of staff of the USA military.
When something like this happens, people start thinking again whether the vaccination is effective, or and how would you like to address that concern which people have? In spite of vaccination, some complications result into this situation.
Well, vaccination is definitely effective. I mean, the vaccination is supposed to prevent a serious infection or serious COVID infection. But what happened in Secretary Powell case, his wife also got COVID, and both were vaccinated, but the wife got better. And she did not need to got admitted in the hospital or any other thing. But Secretary Powell had two serious underlying disease. One is a Parkinsonism, and the second one was multiple myeloma, which is like a cancer. So because of that, the complication, he cannot, he developed the serious complication, and and he could not survive. But that doesn't mean that vaccination is not effective. On the contrary, vaccination is effective. Look at his wife, who also got the COVID after vaccination. And we all know that 7% of the patients or people can get COVID infection after vaccination. But the only thing vaccination does, if you do not have any serious underlying problem, pathology, then usually it prevents you to get the admissions in the hospital and prevents you getting serious life-threatening COVID complications.
So I think that's very, very valuable information coming from you. In contrast to what you just shared, I'm also remembering the news related to Chicago police. And 1/3 of these police personnel have defied the city vaccine mandate. When people belonging to such an important service group acts like this, it also trickles down in framing common citizens' ideas about vaccine. What would you like to say about the situation?
I think the police service is very critical and very important service to the society and public at large. And if 25% of the police force is refused to take the vaccine, that is very unfortunate, illogical, and unscientific thing to do. because they are the one who can spread the disease, and it is not good idea that police department refuse to take the vaccination, because vaccination is very effective. It's good for person who takes it, it's good for their family, and good for the public at large, and particularly in certain profession like police department or healthcare, hospital workers. All those people should have vaccine, because they are the one who come in contact with so many people with or without COVID infection, and it's very dangerous for themselves and to the public at large.
Absolutely. So hope good sense prevails and people understand what is their duty and their role to protect themselves as well as others. But talking about protection, Dr. Saab, the target killing in Jammu and Kashmir continues. Along with this, we have had some serious concerns with reports coming from Bangladesh and Pakistan targeting Hindus. But staying with what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, the way you have seen a pumped up operation on the part of Indian government to curb these terror activities in Jammu and Kashmir, how do you see the situation at the moment?
Well, the situation is very dire and very concerning, because we should not have this kind of selective killing, particularly killing based on the faith or religion. This is kind of revisiting 1990s, where that time when Hindu Pandits were kind of harassed, and they were kind of thrown out of the Kashmir. And now what these people are doing, it though it's in the small scale right now, but what they are doing is they're trying to create the fear of the people, so people won't go to Kashmir Valley, and no Hindu will go and establish there, or no tourist will go, and that will suffer the even economy of the Kashmir and development of the Kashmir.
Absolutely. And with that, on 24th October, T20 cricket match at Dubai is expected to take place between India and Pakistan, and many opposition parties as well as some leaders from BJP are also not in favor of India continuing with this cricket match because, as rightly they point out, that Pakistan is indulging in such acts which are killing innocent people. What is your take whether India should continue with this T20 match on 24th against Pakistan?
I think right now India should protest and by cancelling this match between India and Pakistan to show the Pakistan that India does not like what they are trying to instigate in the Kashmir Valley and the border of the Kashmir and Pakistan, Kashmir border. And I think I would say that yes, it is good idea to cancel it and show our displeasure and disapproval of the whole thing.
Absolutely. And I also heard people saying that instead of getting World Cup at this moment, if you don't play with them, people would appreciate that more. And now talking about the law and order situation and the farmers' agitation, Singhu border and Nihang's killing in a very barbaric manner, one Dalit who was serving them. And there were many videos also. But looks like law and order machinery is not as prompt and swift in acting against the perpetrators, and it took some time in arresting them. But overall, this situation continues to be grim, as well as there are far-reaching, serious unfolding of these complicated situations in India. Your take on how government should act and the farmer agitation leaders, they should also own some responsibility because it was happening in their camp.
Yes, I think so. But I mean, personally, I believe that somehow government can come to kind of on the table with the farmers, or they invite farmers to negotiate and come and try to kind of calm down whole situation, and so the farmers agitation stops. And if farmer agitation stops, then all these other non undesirable events should not happen. And if it happens, then I think government should strongly prosecute them and punish them if they are found to be guilty.
Absolutely. And as we hear again and again, they are using this as an excuse to act in such undesirable manner. And now I'll draw your attention to what has happened recently in Bangladesh. The ISKCON temple was attacked, Durga Puja pandals were attacked, innocent lives lost, minor Hindu girls were raped. There was a protest here in New York also, and overall, how this may prevent from recurring, because it has been happening off and on in Bangladesh.
I think it should not happen, because this kind of attacks on the religious or place of the worship should not happen. Whether it's a temple, or it's a church, or it's a even masjid, no religious place has to be attacked. And the government of the day in Bangladesh should be responsible, in a sense that they should control the law and order. They must enforce the law and order, and must be should be answerable to this kind of unnecessary, welcome violent attacks on the temple, particularly the Hindu temple. And I think we should condemn that. Both the government should talk with each other and figure it out how to stop this thing on both sides, not only in the Bangladesh, but opposite should not happen in India too, because politics and religion should not mix.
So very well said, politics and religion should not mix. But while you have Pakistan, which is following a state religion, and indeed there are many complications involved between India, Pakistan, Bangladesh especially, as well as elsewhere. But now I'll bring you back to New York, and how history sort of catches up with the present. A very landmark decision related to removal of the statue of one of the founding father of America from the City Hall of New York, Thomas Jefferson, because of the fact that he indulged in having 600 slaves in plantation. And there are reports that he also fathered 6 children out of one of the slave ladies. So there have been this discussion for a long time, but finally the decision that his statue would be removed, it opens up a lot of questions, Dr. Saab, related to how much you can rectify the mistakes. And so overall, your response to this decision?
I think history is a history, whether it's a good history or it's a bad, ugly history. History, one should not, on the contrary, one should not remove that history, because otherwise the young generation or next generation will not know about it. So if you remove the statue, then you are completely removing that whole history, bad history, ugly history of the slavery. And after a while, as you know, that people have very short memory. So after a while, people will forget about that. And that is not, you are not really doing any good service to the justice. Actually, justice is done that you should let generation to come who should remember that this is what happened in the past, and it should not happen again in the future. So I think, in my opinion, personal opinion, I think this kind of history, whether it's ugly or not, should not be removed.
Very well said, Dr. Saab. And I'll just share another way of looking at it is people feel that if you have a statue in City Hall, that means you are giving respect to him. That means you are also giving, acknowledging or sort of considering slavery as a normal practice. But argument goes both ways. And as we conclude today's conversation, Dr. Saab, your parting words and also moving forward as we have the Festival of Light around the corner. From that point of view, too, your greetings for our viewers.
Dear friends, really, we are now in the festival season. We just had a Dussehra. So I would like to wish all my viewers and friends happy and healthy Dussehra. And also, I would like to wish them in advance happy and healthy Deepavali. And in this year, the Dussehra and Deepavali has very true meaning because we all learn the Dussehra always good wins over bad or evil. But in this year, I think Dussehra has very good meaning, very practical meaning, because we won against the pandemic COVID-19, and so this year the Deepavali lighting and Dussehra has real meaning that always good wins over the evil, and so be nice to people, be good in your attitude and your behavior to others, and that's really a great thing to happen. So again, God bless America, God bless India, God bless Indian American. Thank you. We'll see you next week, and thank you for joining us. Goodbye.